Hello everyone, welcome to the last day of Crimson Vow spoilers review. There's not that many cards left now, and I'm just gonna go over some few cards that I think are playable to decent, and let's get on to it. First card, we got Hullbreaker Horror. It's a 7 mana 7/8 Kraken Horror with a flash. This spell can't be countered. Whenever you cast a spell, choose up to one. Return target spell you don't control to its owner's hand. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. When I first saw this card, I thought it wasn't good, but then I compared to Nezahal, and now I actually think this card might actually be busted. So if I'm reading this correctly, if this creature is on the battlefield, whenever you play a spell, you can basically return target spell opponent tries to play back into their hand. So if you play this card at the end of opponent's turn, and then you keep up a counter spell the following turn, you can start bouncing everything to its opponent's hand and not let them cast anything. This also has flash and can't be countered and has really beefy stats, so it's a good blocker. I think the control decks will love this card. On to the next card. Welcoming Vampire. 3 mana 2/3 Vampire. Flying. Whenever one or more other creatures with power 2 or less enter the battlefield under your control, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Seems like a generically good card. 3 mana 2/3 flying isn't bad, but the problem is the fact that in white, we have so many 3-drops, and that's a big problem because you have to pick and choose now. You have the Elite Spellbinder, you have the Skyclave Apparition, you have Adeline, you have Brutal Cathar. So how do you fit another 3-drop in? So that's a big issue that the white decks have because there's just so many good 3-drops. But for Vampire, I guess you can also follow up with Henrika Domnathy after you play this, because it's a 1 attack and you'll draw a card. So for Vampires, if you're splashing white, this will definitely go into that deck. Odric Blood Cursed. Okay, so I did kind of lie about the fact that I would only review good cards, but this card is so hilarious, I think I need to do it, and it's also rare. Odric Blood Cursed. 3/3. So all this hunk of text can be summarized into one word, and that's nothing. You can just cross out everything. It's just a vanilla 3/3 creature. And let's go to the next card. What a waste of a rare slot, right? And it's also Vampire. Vampire is honestly a joke this set. It's called Crimson Vow, but there's no good vampires. Okay, next card. Howling Moon. Is this card good? 3 mana enchantment. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target wolf or werewolf you control gets +2/+2 until the end of the turn. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. So really hard to evaluate, but if you're facing an opponent that is playing a lot of low cost cards, I can definitely see this card being useful, because if they do cast 2 cards, you get a 2/2 token, which is really strong in itself. You also get to pump your wolf and werewolf if you're playing that kind of deck. So overall, not a bad card, just hard to evaluate how good this is, because the format needs to be super fast, and this is a card that can definitely slow down the pace, because if they ever play 2 cards at a turn, then you get a massive tempo swing. And next card, we got Avabruck Caretaker. The 6 mana 4/4 human werewolf with hexproof. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put 2 +1/+1 counter on another target creature you control. It transforms to Hollow Hinge Huntmaster. It's a 6/6 werewolf with hexproof. Other permanents you control have hexproof. At the beginning of the combat on your turn, put 2 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. So I mean, I see a glaring weakness to this card. Obviously, this card is very powerful if you can actually get this out. It's a 6 mana card. And if you play 6 mana card with only 4/4 stats, and on top of that, this is a really bad top deck if you don't control any creatures at all, because it can only put counters on other creatures. So I don't think this card is going to be played. We also don't see Tovolar's Huntmaster, which is another 6 mana card that I think is a much better card than this. So I definitely don't see this card being played. Next card, we got Kaya Geist Hunter, another 3 mana planeswalker in the set. With 3 loyalty, creatures you control gain Death Touch until the end of the turn. Put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature token you control. With -2 until the end of the turn, if 1 or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead. And -6, exile all cards from all graveyard, then create 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying for each card exiled this way. Looking at the ultimate, it's very powerful, especially for a 3 mana creature. I mean, a 3 mana planeswalker. But her +1 ability seems pretty bad. Giving your creature Death Touch is fine, but +1/+1 counter only on target creature token you control is really pretty difficult in standard. As for the -2 until the end of turn, you can make double the tokens that you would make instead. I think that could be potentially powerful because you have things like Felidari's Retreat, Starmheim Unleashed. You also got Phrygia's Retribution. So if you lead with Kaya and then on turn 4 you play Phrygia's Retribution, you can get 2 4/4 angels. And that's pretty powerful, right? And yeah, that about wraps it up. Overall, I would like to say that I'm a little bit disappointed, especially the fact that this is called Crimson Vow, and the whole thing is about the marriage between Edgar and Olivia, and I just assumed they would give us more vampires that are broken, like the ones that we've seen in Core 2020, which are Sorin and Knight of the Ebon Legion. And obviously that wasn't the case this time. All the vampires seem kind of mediocre. The Blood Vial mechanic is whatever. So overall disappointed, but we got to see some pretty cool spirits and humans and zombies. Basically rest of the creatures in the set, aside from the vampires, were pretty exciting, I think. So we'll have to see how the set goes once it releases. Anyways, if you guys liked the video, leave a like and a comment. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd appreciate if you did. I'll see you guys later.